And hello there. Really need to stop starting out with the word and. I don't know why I do that. It's like every time I hold my breath and wait till it says, you're live. Um, anyway, I wanted to take the time out to um, do something I should have done over the weekend, but didn't get the chance to, so I'll do it today. And this will be part of a future podcast episode, which will probably be available tomorrow, hopefully. I just need to keep on it. Um, in this episode will not be the usual episode because one of the things I want to do, the only thing I want to do, is kind of describe, what my mom means to me, especially growing up, because tell you a little bit about myself before we get into that. I grew up in Missouri, but I was born in Arizona, Maricopa County, on a military installation that no longer exists. Williams Air Force Base closed in 1993, the same year that the B-2 bomber was publicly unveiled. And it's been an interesting 30 plus years of my life, to say the least. One of the things that, about my mom is that, she has, willpower that would frustrate a lot of people. Um, it's hard to sell things to her because of the way she carries herself. She would probably have done well as a professional gambler for that reason. She would drive most used car salesmen crazy. She once told me the story about how some salesman, I think it was for insurance or something, I have no idea, he had quit smoking. Um, she managed, without even trying and not even meaning to, unnerve him to the point where he started smoking again. Um, that's the type of person she is. She's a pretty incredible person. And like, most humans, she, has her faults too, but everybody does. But the one thing that I do need to talk about is, 6 years of age, I nearly died twice. And the mixed bag of having access to medical centers on an Air Force base is you either will get okay care or not so great, especially if they have no idea what's going on with you. They had no idea what was going on with me. Um, the the so-called Western Missouri Medical Center, as it's called today, in Warrensburg, they had no clue either. So it was shuffling back and forth between the two. And I was finally only sent to Children's Mercy Hospital when only one of my lungs showed up on the x-ray. So I was eventually taken to Children's Mercy. And as far as my mom was concerned, when they admitted me, they admitted her too. She would not leave the hospital until I left. And that's the type of person she is. And it's really incredible, because she has taught me so much in life, even through her different perspectives. From her, I learned to eventually embrace some change. It may take a while, but it eventually happens. Because I was one of those kids that grew up By the time I got to, say, own a CD player, for example, it was old hat. Everybody had one. It was no big deal, but to me, it was. Um, you know, I didn't really start, getting my hands on some cool stuff until especially later on in life. Like video game consoles for the longest time, generation or two behind. But that said, it started changing a little bit later in my life. A little bit later, into high school is when it started changing. Um, you know, she didn't even get a microwave until later on in life, much later. And to be fair, back then when microwaves were on the market, they actually cost a lot of money. Nowadays, you can get a 700 watt for rather cheap. It's if it's something especially new, she wouldn't jump on it. She wasn't like the crowd. She, you know, put her in front of a Windows 95 computer, and as long as it can do certain things that she wants it to do, she's fine. She doesn't need internet. That's not what she's into. Um, and I've seen people from older generations, getting into tech for the first time, and they're fascinated by it and they have fun with it. Mom's not that type of person. And she's taught me to, learn from the past and appreciate where we've been for that reason. Because if you don't understand an old school concept, she does. She's lived through that. She's lived through those times. And she has been the epitome of willpower and enduring some trying times. And, there were times when my sister and I were going through some, rather precarious situations, but we were shielded from it as best as she could. And it's really incredible where I'm at today. And one of the biggest things that I've, learned from Mom is, sometimes, we may not like change, and we may eventually slowly embrace it when we have no other choice. And we may find out it may not be so bad. And we may not be as scared of it and everything else. But it also teaches me at the same time to appreciate the past too. It's incredible. And one of the biggest things that she has been trying to teach me and trying to remind me of over and over again is, no matter what, finish what you start. Don't just stop in the middle and walk away from it. Because she had dreams of her own, and she's had to put them on hold. And now she just lives a simple life and is content as she can be. But she always likes the simple things, and that sometimes it doesn't take much to amuse her. She told me a story of how she went to, like, a mall or something with, her siblings, and she would pull out this simple, like, funny looking, mug to pour your drinks in or something, when everybody showed, grandpa what they had all gotten. She just plop, and he'd just laugh, because, she's one of those that enjoys window shopping. more than anything else. She just likes looking at stuff. May not necessarily buy it, but she just likes looking. And about the part of being a professional gambler, um, she would frustrate other people apparently because, at a casino, slot machines and everything else, she'd decide on an amount, and if she won that amount, okay, she's done for the night. She met her goal. And everybody else would keep going and going and losing their money. If people were taking, bets on football teams or horse racing even, she'd go with one that she didn't go based on statistics and how well, one competitor was doing over another or anything like that. She just picked the horse or the team that just sounded good to her at the time, and quite a few times she wound up ahead. And everything else. So, and she's, one of the things that I get from her is I appreciate solitude. I'm kind of funny. I have to be surrounded by people, right? Which is why I don't live out in the country. I like the idea of having neighbors, even if I don't talk to them. It's weird, I know. But I like the idea of being able to go somewhere, sit down, just listen to the noise around me of everybody talking. Mom, exact opposite. Wide open spaces, that's who she is. Open sky. If she doesn't mind company, but she likes her space. And me, I don't need quite as much space, but I do need some space. So yeah, the life lessons I've learned from her to this day is, finish what you start, appreciate the past while embracing change and the future, and just do the best that you can, because you're not going to get it right the first time. You're going to have to keep trying, and you'll eventually get it, and know when to stay out of things, because sometimes the other person has to learn the hard way, or other people, whatever the situation may be. You can't save the world if it doesn't want to be saved, in other words. It's one of those things you learn throughout your life, and years ago, she would have been on to me about certain mistakes I've made, but nowadays she's like, okay, we all make mistakes. Basically, I'm an adult now, and she'll hear me out. She'll give advice when she can, but ultimately it's up to me what I do with whatever situation I encounter. So that's where I'm at. So when I got more towards the idea of moving out and being on my own, she eventually got to the point where it's like, okay, you're on your own now. If you need anything, let me know. But other than that, it's basically up to me. And she's one of those individuals that's fairly independent. And that's something that I admire and appreciate about her. And like I said, she's not perfect. She has her faults, and so does everybody else. But the things that I've learned from her, I'm carrying with me to this very day. And sometimes I may fall off the horse on a variety of things, but the only thing I can do is get back on them. So next week, hopefully we'll be back to our regular schedule of sorts, but I wanted to take the time out and wish, my mom a happy Mother's Day belatedly. Kind of did on Saturday when my girlfriend and I hung out with her, but didn't get to make this episode, but that's all right. It was kind of a spur of the moment thing. And we'll see you all next week.